Food problem acute. The food problem was a very acute one when first we settled on the Logan. There was no vehicular communication with the city, and all our supplies, even including to a great extent our meat mostly salted, generally called salt horse, had to come by a cutter, which was very erratic in its timetable. Sometimes it came once in 6 weeks, at other times just when it arrived. Its arrival was always heralded by a blast from a bullock horn, which, when heard, caused a stampede of the whole community to the waterside landing place. Only the barest necessaries could be afforded, but meager as they were anxiously awaited, especially when stocks of flour and other foodstuffs were running low. There were many blacks in the district, but on no occasion did they give us any trouble. On the contrary, we were always glad to see them, for they brought us fish, kangaroo tails, crabs, or honey, to barter for our flour, sugar, tea, or tobacco. Such expensive luxuries as jams, pickles, or bottled fruits were beyond our means. Wild raspberries, Cape gooseberries, and small tomatoes were turned into a preserve, and pumpkin was our standby for puddings or tarts. No fruits of any kind were grown, the only thing I remember in that line being one only, bunch of bananas suspended from the rigging of the trading cutter. Gradually we all dispersed to other scenes, and the land which members of our company had occupied reverted to its state of primeval bush and solitude. Now I and my brother are the sole survivors of that little community of 1863 to 66. Recently I spent a week tramping, not riding, over my old haunts, which I had not set eyes upon for over 50 years. I found the rivers denuded of all their old and glorious scrubs, and their whilom denizens were neither to be seen nor heard. The streams themselves seemed to be sullen and sluggish and polluted, and wore an air of being ashamed of their nowadays nudity. Utility and ugliness were the dominant notes everywhere. In many places the physical features of the places were changed or entirely obliterated. Watercourse and chain of ponds of my day were nearly all filled in with the accumulated debris of the past half-century or so. Of my contemporaries I could not find a single representative. Their second generations, in a few instances, had remained on their ancestors' hold, EMGs, but they had no community of interest in the old days with me. In despair, I betook myself to the local cemetery, where I found that most of my contemporaries were sleeping in eternal slumber,